Hey guys, Josh Fossgreen here, and today we are going to learn a easy solo bass arrangement of Silent Night together. It's really fun to do solo bass arrangements, even if you just do them by yourself and you just play normal bass in your band or with your buddies or whatever. It's really fun to do. And the way I've done this is actually a simple template that you can, not quite a template, but a concept you can use to arrange songs on your own, which I'll talk about more after we learn it. So let's jump right in here. And actually, before I play it for you, you'll want to download the PDF for today by clicking here. And that'll send you to my website where you can get the sheet music and tablature absolutely for free. So let me play this for you and then I'll show you how to play it. So here's Silent Night. As you can hear, it's a very simple arrangement. It's basically just the melody of the song, you know the melody, with the bass notes underneath it, which are just the roots of the chords of the chord progression that this song goes through. And I'll talk more about that after we learn it, because I want you to understand where I'm coming from with this arrangement so that with a little bit of application and know-how, you can create your own arrangements in this style. And this is a pretty darn stripped down simple arrangement. If I were to really play this in a non-instructional way, I would probably add a lot more flavor just to my own taste. But this totally works, and I think it sounds nice, and I thought it would be fun to do this together so you can play a little Christmas solo bass for your friends and family if you want to. So here's what's going on. You've got the music to follow along with, and I'll just be kind of explaining what you're seeing there. So we're starting on a C major chord, and real quick meta point, you're going to need some kind of plucking technique with your right hand where you can pluck a couple notes at once. Like when we start out, you're going to pluck a low C on the A string on the 3rd fret along with the open G string. There's a lot of different ways you could do that. You could go index finger, middle finger. You could go thumb, index, thumb, middle. Really, whatever feels good to you is fine. If you want to do the thumb and fingers thing, I do have a video on that thumb and fingers plucking technique that you can watch. Whatever gets you to be able to play both of those notes at once works fine. Doesn't matter if you use your thumb or not, or what fingers you use. It's all good in the hood. So that first phrase. So what we're doing is we're keeping the C down the whole time, plucking the C and the G at the same time, and then part of how we get this to sound nice with kind of a bass line and then a melody line above it, rather than having it all sound like the same voice, is that we're not always plucking the low notes every time we pluck a high note. So I'm not going, hear the difference between that and, or, you know, maybe a couple plucks there. But so I'm letting the bass notes hang while melody notes are happening a little faster. So it feels more like separate voices, which I think is key for making interesting solo bass arrangements a lot of the time, is having it sound like there's two different voices, even though it's all in the same instrument. So keep that in mind. Again, I'm not going to prescribe exact times when you need to pluck the bass notes. I do have it written out a certain way, but it's very flexible. However, whatever feels good and sounds like Silent Night to you is all good, because it's holiday season, we're all drinking our vegan eggnog, and just whatever sounds good to you is cool for this one. Don't take my sheet music as the written word of God. Although I'd be very flattered if you did. I'm just messing with you. Okay, so the other little trick I'll give you there, I'm gonna make this a pretty cursory overview so we don't spend our entire holiday doing this video. But one thing you wanna watch for on the fourth melody note, silent night, on night, it helps if when you fret that E in the melody, have your finger a little bit flat on the string rather than, rotate here, rather than have it fully articulated, flatten it a little bit so that you're fretting with your fingertip on the D string for the melody note, and you're also muting the G string with a little bit of meat hanging on the string there, because you don't want the G string still ringing when you go to that melody note, because you want the melody to be the highest note in this case, otherwise it doesn't pop out as the melody. So when you go to that note, try to mute the G string simultaneously with your index finger. Then that repeats. Then we've got a little hang time. Now, I bet I'm gonna get a few comments complaining about this stretch, but I would like you to know that I have actually taught this to an actual student who has normal sized hands, and he can do the stretch, so can you. And Victor Wooten can do the stretch too, and he has even smaller hands than you probably. So no whining about the stretch. Don't you dare. I'm just playing. So we fret a low G and then a fifth above the G, which is the melody note, a 12th really, fifth plus an octave. And again, I don't want to pluck the G on every melody note, so it feels more like the melody is moving independently of the bass line. So fingering wise, pretty important here to go index finger, pinky finger. Anything else, I mean, I could barely do that with any other finger. God, that looks silly. So index, pinky for sure, and then you can just bring that pinky down. You can even get a nice little slide there if you want. So index, pinky comes down, and then index, pinky on the octave. Now we got a little flavor there. So let's review that so far. Mute the G string when you play that E. Just an octave on a C. High note comes down to the open G. Then we do a nice little country bumpkin Hank Williams walk up to the forecourt. So I'm just walking, this whole tune is based off the C major scale. I'm just walking up the scale. I'm starting on a C, my target note is F, so I'm just going C, D, E, F. I keep my eyes wide open all the time because you're mine. That's another place where that walk-up goes. And that is not my best Johnny Cash impression I've ever done. And fingering-wise, I would recommend, so you're on index and pinky, index, pinky, index, and then you can grab the next chord, the F and the A, middle finger, index. Index, pinky, index, and then you can kind of bar over with your index finger. Okay, so that gets us to the forecourt. And then this section repeats. So here the fingering actually works out really nice because you got your second finger on the bass note, which is F. Then the melody goes index, pinky, ring, index. So your middle finger is free the whole time to stay on the bass note, or you can come down with your pinky to that fourth fret note too. And then second finger comes over to C, and that section is just like Silent Night, the beginning of the tune. And that repeats. So now we've got hang time again. We're gonna shift up to a power chord, but shaped a little weird. We got 7th fret, first finger on the G string, 3rd finger, 10th fret on the A string. And the reason we're doing it that way is because the next notes we want to grab are all in this area. So that's why I'm not doing a power chord in a more traditional shape in either place. So first finger, third finger, next melody note, F on the 10th fret of the G string with the pinky. So see why we're doing that shape? It just fits so logically. And then sleep in heavenly, last melody note in that chunk, second finger. So each finger gets used on each note, which is kind of nice. And then we finish there. So let me take you through that fingering one more time. First finger, third finger, fourth finger on the new high note, back to index, and then middle finger on that last melody note, and the third finger stays on the low note the whole time. And then third finger, fourth finger, and then add in index middle on the low root and the high third. So 2 notes in the middle, 2 notes on the outside, and that's the rest of that phrase. And then to finish up, so fingering wise, I don't actually always do this because it's a little bit of work, but the best way to do this, keep the bass note ringing, is so you go bar with the pinky, middle finger on the low note, bar with the pinky on the high octave and the fifth fret notes, and then you got your first finger back here for the E, the third. Okay, and then next bar, you've already got your middle finger on the 3rd fret, so just bring it over to the G, pinky on the octave. And then actually, there's a couple ways you could do this. Let's see. What I would do, since I'm on my 2nd finger here, I would actually slip my 1st finger back for that next, the 3rd fret note, and then go pinky. Or you can switch. And do index middle, however you want to do it there. You'll just probably have to work on getting that change fast enough at first. And then hit a C, and then we finish up with some harmonics. So keep the C ringing, and then use your pinky finger for all these harmonics, which are all on the 5th fret. So right on the wire of the 5th fret, not in the middle of the fret, very end of the fret on the wire. Just touch the string, do not press down, touch it very lightly, just barely touch it, and then pluck it near the bridge, ideally, with your right hand. So pluck the C on the A string, then 5th fret E, 5th fret D, 5th fret G. And then bonus, neck bend. You do it like this, push in here and back, push this way and this way, or just push against your strap. And that's the arrangement. You'll notice that there are no play-along sections in this lesson, and the reason for that, besides that I don't want to keep you here through your entire holiday break, is that the nature of working out solo bass stuff takes time and figuring out how it's going to work for your specific hands and skills and stretchabilities and stuff. So having the sheet music and the tab and sitting with it on your own for 30 minutes, an hour, couple hours over the course of a week or something is really the best way to learn this, and then maybe come back to the lesson a couple times if you're getting stuck on a fingering or something and see how I explained it. Because that's what I do anyway, to work out solo bass stuff. It just takes time. You got to figure out the melody, then figure out, okay, what are the chords? What are the roots of the chords? How can I stick those together and get them to fit on the strings? It's a lot of kind of introspective, self-directed stuff has to happen to create these arrangements. And what I really want for you is not to just learn this one arrangement, but I would love for you to actually be able to do this on your own. And I've provided some tools for you to do that. I've got videos on scales. I've got a couple videos like this one where I take you through some solo bass stuff, some of my original solo bass music. And basically all you're doing is learn the melody of the song, learn the chord progression, find where the roots of those chords are, stick the roots underneath the melody at the appropriate times, and that's an arrangement. That's all this whole thing is just melody plus bass notes to the chord progression. So try it with a different Christmas song or whatever. Whatever you want to do it with. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work so well depending on the key it's in. Sometimes you want to change the key. There's a lot of little things that come up. So if this is something you're interested in but you feel like you're not quite there, I am still available for private Skype sessions. My availability goes a little in and out with touring, with Tempest and whatnot, but I do have some slots open, so feel free to contact me through joshfossgreen.com on the lessons page. If you want some help in moving in this direction, I love working with people on this kind of stuff. Or anything else. I'm happy to help people with anything, whether you're just starting out or trying to get over stuck rut feeling after many years of playing. And that's all I have to say. You can check out Beastly Scales and Arpeggios at joshfossgreen.com/books. You can support me in continuing to make these excellent videos free on YouTube at patreon.com. And have a happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next year.